someone asked me about my media diet and what I take in, and I tend to look for long form journalism that asks more questions than sets an agenda.
Oh, I like that. That's good advice.
So, if I feel like I am being convinced of something, which is an editorial, you know, in a way where it's not true inquiry. For example, Caitlin Flanagan wrote a now very famous essay on the abortion debate. Did you ever read it in the Atlantic?
I don't think so.
It's a phenomenal exploration of the issue in America and from a very nuanced perspective. So I tend to like things that allow for nuance
Mm.
and that allow for individual stories that are exceptions to the rules,
Mm.
that are not dogmatic, that are steeped in, you know, true resource and, like I said, like an awareness of like the original document of whatever it is. Like when a when a legal ruling comes in from the Supreme Court, you have people who are real Supreme Court watchers, right? And it's like people are gonna have their different vantage point of that. But even if one doesn't have a legal mind, like going to the source and saying, what do I make of this document? And of course, like
Yeah.
we need people who are skilled, who went to law school to say, this is how I would interpret this. But I like to listen to multiple views of that so that I'm not just getting one source of information.
What's hard nowadays is that when it comes to journalism, it's really hard to even find journalism that is unbiased. Like we don't
Well, it's
live in
all
that.
editorial. It's basically
Yeah,
all
we live
editorial at this point.
in the world of reporting anymore. We live in the world of
Yes.
editorial. So I think that when we were talking before, I was getting this feeling of like I feel that we should talk about having like kind of empathy and compassion for ourselves and also for especially for the youth who are so confused. And I think that was something that always really struck me about Charlie's debates too, is that a lot of people would come to him, young people would come to him with like kind of um aggressive, like,
Yes.
I know this type of view, and then he would sort of like walk it back and try to like g- try to understand from them why they felt like that, why they had their
He
identity.
asked them directly, tell me what that means to you. Tell me about
Exactly.
your experience. How do you feel about that?
And like they don't know. And it's not just him that does this. There's man on the street people that do this. There's this is
Hmm.
kind of a trend in a
Mhm.
world where truth is so hard to find and objectivity is so hard to find reality. That's why the Jeffree Star thing was so cool too.
Yeah.
Cause like y'all don't live in reality. And you know, that's true. Like we don't all live in reality. We're living in an
Yeah.
emotional fabricated version of truth. And I think the only way to kind of get to that is to ask the questions and to ask people to ask themselves, why do I feel like that? How do I define that? You know, really, if you can't find the source, it's more just checking in with yourself too. Like, why do I think like this? Where does this belief come from? How much do I know about this thing? And then where can I seek to like the people who are like Charlie celebrating his death? It's like, okay, in this example, going straight to the source would be watching full length videos of him at the thing.
Yes. I think that there is a real, this is a deeper question, which is like, what makes a good person? So, me being, someone that I know sliding into my DMs and saying he was a horrible person, his actions were horrible.
Yeah. What exactly does that mean?
What does that mean? So, does being good mean you have the belief systems that you agree with? But
Mhm.
but our human mind. Oh, this is what I was going to say. So this is one of the things that I think in the Judeo-Christian lineage is why the Judeo-Christian lineage is at a kind of collision course with leftist Marxism is
Mm.
because the Judeo-Christian lineage upon which America was founded. You can not like it, it's the truth, right?
Yeah.
That um that the individual, like it's the idea that individuals are flawed. Humans are flawed, and that left to their own, devices, they may choose paths that are unsavory, let's say, right? But that's the inquiry and stuff. Am I doing good? Am I being good, etc.? It it looks at the individual.
Mhm.
Leftism, Marxism says everything is the responsibility of a system. The individual is never to blame for the action. If someone commits murder, it's because they were in a system.
Mhm.
So where is the personal inquiry, and where is the personal responsibility? It's not there. So one can always play the blame game. That's To me, that feels rotten.
Yeah, I agree.
Like,
And I think if you were to talk to someone who's on the extreme left, I don't think they would identify that that's what they're doing or even understand that that's the trap that they're falling into.
I don't know about that, because they will say, for example, about this person who stabbed Irene, what's her last name, on the bus in Charlotte,
Mm.
North Carolina. They will say, well, the system was unkind to him.
Right.
No, no. You have to be like responsible for your actions, no matter what. We all get handed a deck. We all get handed cards. Like, how are we going to play them? And, you know, that to me, o- the idea that nothing is anyone's individual fault
Yeah.
because it's the systems, that's not sustainable for a society. Plus, when you take away, like, you know, when you're in a system where it's okay, it's all the system's responsibility. It's not like utopia has ever existed based on a Marxist revolution. Ever.
And they're not really
Ever.
offering a so okay, so what's the solution then? Like in that paradigm? What is there you could tell me philosophically maybe because you understand like
Yeah.
the worldview of Marxism, but in the individual's experience, what is their solution to a broken system and to being the victim? How did they in their mind deal with
I'd
that?
have to ask them, but I think it has something to do with removing all private property, right?
But it's like, do you guys even know what you're fucking
Yeah.
talking about?
But no, no, no.
No.
And it's always interesting, right? Because a lot of times, not every time, a lot of times it is
I
the
mean,
children of very wealthy people who've never
wake
had to
up.
get a job and
I,
never had to pay their own bills, right? So, you know, if that's the case, it's really problematic. And this again goes back to the schools. Like, if we are not teaching civics, the American Constitution, like basic economic principles, like if we are not teaching these things, yeah, it's really easy to get rid of, because you look around and you're like, well, that person has a yacht and they shouldn't have a yacht, you know? And so it becomes this and if everything is through the lens of the materialism,
Mhm.
right? It's all about what people have or don't have versus about the fulfillment of the soul. It's like, and also nature is unkind, and nature, like the natural world, is unkind, and it's also miraculous, and it's also brutal.
It's also chaos.
Yes. And so, like, why, like, I don't know, what's the entitlement that, like, nothing should be hard? Like, where does that come from? That to me is a parenting issue.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know. I was told all the time, like, life isn't easy. You got to get back up.
I remember fighting with my parents because they would always be like, "Sorry, life's tough," and I
Yeah.
would always, "Don't you want me to be happy?" And they were like, "Sure."
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
Like, "Sure, we want you to be happy, but we actually want you to, like, have grit and survive. That's really
Yeah.
what we want."
Yeah.
Like, happiness was secondary to their teaching of, like, how to navigate the hardships of the world.
Yeah, and, like, my niece has she's really driven. She's really whip smart. She's driven. She's a freshman in college, and it's like, I say to her, "Just keep focused on that." Like, you know, keep your head like, work hard. I don't understand these things that have existed since the beginning of the time, they didn't become untrue.
Yeah.
It's like, I just
You know what also this is, like, something that bothers me too is that about the left is that and by the way, like, I don't want anyone getting it twisted that I'm like, "The left has these problems." I'm not like a fucking I worship the right. I'm just we can go into those problems as well, but I think as a former identified liberal Democrat, it upsets me to see how far off the place that I once felt home has become from what I feel is like a harmonious reality that also builds a better world.
yeah.
Uh, but something that I really, really don't like is that they look at the right, they look at people who are Christian or people of God, and they judge them and they laugh at them and they think that makes them stupid and they think that makes them racist and they think that makes them homophobic or whatever. And it's like, that is so far from the truth. Like, why is godlessness celebrated as superior
I
when
really I ask myself this all the time. I really think I know in the world that I was raised in, there was kind of like, I was raised in New York City. It was kind of like,
it's
yeah, secular. And I always wanted more religion. But I think that it is a prejudice. It's like I was listening to Walton Goggins on a podcast on Dak Shepard, and he said, the last acceptable prejudice is the Southerner. And he said, I won't play roles where Southerner is, you know, the role is like a Southerner who's stupid, or he's like, because it's the last acceptable prejudice and I'm done with it. It's like, I think that there is
true.
that, I think it's pretty atrocious. I thought it was interesting, like, so much of the NFL, for example, came out in support of Charlie Kirk, and it's like the in support of, just obviously calling forward how terrible it is that he was shot and that people responded in glee. And it's like, I think these, like, age old kind of like American institutions, they they have a strong, like, family values base. And I think that is, I don't know what it is. I don't know why it's so threatening to people. I really don't. Like, I don't know why someone believing in God and reading scripture is so threatening. I guess because in certain cases, people were raised have religious trauma. I think that's a very real thing.
And also, there are certain portions of maybe the Bible that could be
Sure.
interpreted as like I remember when my mother and my grandmother, who was like a devout Catholic, my mom was like ultimate liberal Jew, fighting about homosexuality because my mom was like covertly trying to defend my brother, even though my brother hadn't come out.
Yeah.
But my grandmother was like, well, in the Bible, like two men aren't supposed to lay together.
Right. I think but
But that
I
doesn't
get that.
Christian thinks that.
Or that they think that a like, in these debates, Charlie Kirk says his belief is like that he doesn't agree with that lifestyle, but he welcomes them in, like, he sees them as a child of God and what, like,
Yeah,
why is it's really fascinating to me, this, and I think I didn't grow up with any religious trauma. So I don't have that knee-jerk reaction of I had to sit in Bible class or I was told this or what. So I think there's an element of that I don't
yeah,
carry.
I agree.
And, and I have a lot of empathy for people who experience that. But again, this goes back to what I said at the beginning, which is that people take their personal trauma and project it onto the entire world or entire subset of people.
Yeah.
And th- that's, I think, the issue. It's like, oh no, this person hurt me. That doesn't mean that every person who is of that religious belief is going to hurt me,
Right.
right? So what happened to a lot of boys in the Catholic Church is horrific. There are incredible Catholics. Majority of Catholics are, you know what I mean? Like there were these but I think that's the thing. It's like we pinpoint, we reduce people. But it's
Yeah.
so interesting, right? Like in it's like there's something about identity politics also. It's like your whole sense of your being is your external identity. Where I just don't see, like to me, you're your soul, and then those are external attributes.
Totally. Also, like, it's just so dumb, sorry, to have your identity be completely wrapped up in external things. Like, what? Like, if that's how you're living, I
Mhm.
actually feel truly bad for you because that
Yeah.
is the empty, hungry ghost, anxiety inducing, insecure, defensive, emotional possible way to live.
Yes.
Like, if everything that you have built yourself around is something that's not directly into you,
Mhm.
then that's the problem. Then you have created a serious problem for yourself and should be investigating that. Because then you're putting that on everybody else, and anybody that doesn't fit into your little identity is the problem. But it's you.
Yeah. But that is the thing. This is what I'm saying is it all comes down to the idea of it's all about the person and how the person so anybody that is celebrating someone else's death, think about how divorced from your own humanity you have to be to do that.
Exactly.
Like think about how much anger you must possess, how black parts of your heart are.
It's so, so sad. It's true. Like the inner disconnect is what creates that reaction.
It's the only thing, right? So it's like when
And that's what they say. Like, you know how they say, all those famous quotes, like, I thought I wanted to change the world, but really I had to
a
change myself.
rainbow.
It's like
Yeah.
that. It's like
Yes.
to a T. Like the more, and it's funny because Cliff, one of my like
Mhm.
sons texted this morning, like, stay inward, have hallucinogenic optimism right now. And it's like,
Yeah.
exactly, because the more that we're putting ourselves into the world and identifying and trying to find pieces of resonance in all of this fractured chaos, the worse we all feel internally. Even if we're not someone who fully builds identity and makes it our politics,
Mhm.
the more that we try to like attach or opine or have, which is fine, have your opinions, have your hot takes, whatever, but the more that we're really genuinely sticking to that, I can feel it in myself when I do that.
Yeah. There's an emptiness to it. So I mean, I've said for a while that I think the Saturn Neptune conjunction in Aries is a kind of holy war.
Mm, mm. I feel that.
My dog is yes.
Re-
Yes.
the
Henry.
resonance.
Yeah.
And I suppose it just feels like it always has to be nuanced. If individuals need to be held accountable, and then we can look at our systems and how they can be more supportive. Can I be more compassionate and accepting without taking everything so personally and being offended by it? Libra rising musings. Haha. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yes. Exactly. It's never just one thing, but we cannot discount the choices of the individual. And ultimately whoever the individual is, like we have to wrestle with our own stuff. We have to struggle with our own stuff, with our own demons, with our own flaws, with our like no system, nothing outside of us ourselves. It's the hungry ghost is ever going to be able to do that for us. It's part and parcel of being human.
Yeah.
I know we both have to go, but
I just feel like I really do hope that this moment is just one of those violence in vain, all of
I
us.
don't think it is. I think that there is I think that the youth, and when I say youth, I mean like 16 to 23. Like, I think this is a real moment for that. I think that there is a real, I don't want to call it an uprising, but like a real turning point for the youth.
I hope that people are inspired to have more open dialogue
Yeah.
because we have been doing that for so long. And I
Hmm.
think it's it's funny because we've talked so much in the past about how like this astrology reflects a different revolutionary time
Yeah.
when assassinations were taking place.
Yeah.
And that it kind of the collective kind of went into a weird kind of
Hmm.
state after those things that I think our boomer parents were very anesthetized and shell shocked, and a lot of them like stamped out their own inner rebel after
Hmm.
all the things because it was like
Yeah.
bam bam that just
Yeah.
them all up like they were ready to go. They were revolutionary. They were burning their bras. They were anti-war. They were like in it. And then all their heroes got murdered, including John Lennon, who wasn't even a politician, but had that vision and voice of peace and acceptance. And it made them hide. And I hope that this generation takes the opposite approach and that they don't, and that I mean, it's not just the
Hmm.
children, us too, like personal experience. Something I've been working through for the past 5 years is to heal from the silencing of COVID. And I do feel like this is this moment where it's even pushing me even further to be like, just fucking be about it.
Yeah.
Like, stop being afraid of the people that slide into your DMs and shame you and are mean to you, and start just opening and the conversation and doing it in the way that you want to do it, and trusting that is worth it. It is worth it to try to communicate with people, even if some people aren't going to get it, because no one's ever going to get it. No, not everyone will
Yeah.
always get it.
But I think that's his legacy, right? It's like, and that I think is what he will inspire a generation. Because if you go, I mean, all of those videos are recorded. People can go, so there's a legacy there. It's not just all in real time. People can go back and watch those, and I think it will mushroom. Oh, this is how you debate in good faith. This has been a lost art. This is how you do this.
Because he also had a kindness to him that, like,
There
Douglas
was
Murray,
a sweetness. There
like,
was
he had
just, yes,
like, Douglas
yes,
Murray doesn't have it, like, Ben Shapiro doesn't have
no,
it, like,
no,
Jordan Peterson doesn't have it, like, Megyn Kelly is a different story, she doesn't really do that, Candace Owens doesn't really do that, like, they all have their own, like, attitude and, like, shell around them. He did not really have that, and you know what I
no.
think it is? I think that he was actually deeply funny
Yes, I think, and also really brilliant. Like,
and very
just like, just and a knowledge, like an extraordinary knowledge base. And he was unique in that way. And it wasn't gotcha. It wasn't like, you know, like a lot of these podcasters, and it's like bold letters, and it's all very catchy, and he was just like, I'm a person, you're a person, let's have a conversation. And I just, yeah, may his, as we say in Judaism, may his memory be a blessing. Like, may there,
it's just so, you know but there's a whole other avenue about, like, gun violence that we could go down, but it's really not about that. Like, it's
but don't
really
you
not.
think an individual was always going to be able to get their hands on a gun to be able to do something like this?
Yeah, whether it was an
Something
individual
like this. Right.
or the deep state.
Whatever it was. Whatever it was.
Part of my
Yeah.
thing, owning my conspiracy theorists.
And you're a conspiracy theorist?
I mean, not, like, all the way, but a little bit.
Yeah. I think
Not
there's a
like
healthy dose of that.
think that like everyone's a man. Like there's some really funny conspiracies online. Like I have a friend who would just send back like the most ridiculous ones
Or
ever.
like flat earthers.
Flat earthers, like everyone's a man.
Yeah.
Just a lot of different crazy ones that exist, but there are I think the Scorpio in me is like there's a deeper layer to all of this that ends up kind of being true. And I think the conspiracy theorists of like COVID, for example, we've all, most of us, the ones that weren't like
Mhm.
viruses don't exist, that, but like
Yeah.
most of it ended up being true. So I think just to me, being a conspiracy theorist is just like having your head on a swivel
And just
and
healthy
not,
dose of skepticism always,
yeah, exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, we got to go. Thanks for
We'll
this.
resume late September when I'm back.
Oh, right. Have a wonderful
And
trip.
then I'm here and then it's no more. This is just it's been a lot
And we're
travel.
going to pay,
We're going to be more
when
consistent.
pick a regular time
Yeah.
so that people can just kind of know that that's when it is.
Yeah.
Anyways, love you lots.
Love you.
Thanks everyone for being here and
Yes.
for the second for the overheat. Um
Love you too.
See you after the
Everybody.
the next eclipse.
Yeah. Love you.